United States President-elect Donald Trump has sparked criticism from world leaders by outlining bold foreign policy proposals. During a comprehensive media briefing from his Mar-a-Lago estate 2 weeks before taking office, Trump made notable statements about NATO, Ukraine's potential NATO membership, Israel's conflict in Gaza, and issues involving Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal. Trump expressed empathy for Russia's stance against Ukraine joining NATO.
A big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now, they've said that. That's been like written in stone. And somewhere along the line, Biden said, no, they should be able to join NATO. Well, then Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes made in that negotiation. And when I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And it could escalate. That war could escalate to be much worse than it is right now.
Trump has frequently criticized NATO allies for insufficient defense spending and hinted at reconsidering the United States' role in the alliance.
You know, years ago, when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got, and the Secretary General was here, as you know, 2 weeks ago, saying that if it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now, because I raised from countries that weren't paying their bills. At that time, 28 countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills, 21 to be exact. They weren't paying, or they were paying a very small portion. And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave, by saying, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. And as soon as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it. Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement. Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills.
Although several European nations have increased defense spending to meet NATO's 2% GDP target, Trump urged them to raise it to 5%. He warned of severe consequences if an agreement on hostage releases between Hamas and Israel is not reached before his presidency begins.
For us, you know, we do have people that are hostages being held. And I'll just say it again. If this deal's not done with the people representing our nation, by the time I get to office, all hell is going to break out.
While ruling out military action against Canada, he suggested potential economic measures and reiterated his previous remark about Canada becoming the 51st U.S. state. He criticized the U.S.-Canada border, referring to it as an artificially drawn line.
But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. You know, they send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything. And we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. But I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit. And we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau swiftly rejected Trump's statements, asserting that Canada would never become part of the United States. Trump did not dismiss the possibility of military action concerning Greenland or the Panama Canal. Trump underscored the importance of Greenland, an autonomous Danish territory, for U.S. national security. France warned against any threats to European Union borders, emphasizing the EU's commitment to protecting its sovereignty. The president-elect commended the Tuesday ruling by District Judge Aileen Cannon, which blocked the public release of Special Counsel Jack Smith's final report on federal investigations involving Trump. Trump criticized Smith, stating, "He was thrown off the case in disgrace. Why should he be allowed to write a fake report?"
So this is deranged Jack Smith. So he dropped the lawsuits. He was told to by the DOJ because they had no lawsuit. They lost in court in front of a very strong and a very brilliant judge. They lost in court, and that pertained to other cases in other courts. So he wanted to do a report just before I take office, probably. So he'll do like a 500-page report, and it'll be a fake report, just like the investigation was a fake investigation. And I said, well, wait a minute. This guy was thrown off in disgrace. In disgrace. He's going back to The Hague or wherever they're going to send him. In disgrace. Because he failed so badly. Because it was a fake case against a political opponent. They thought they were going to use this to beat me. So what you're saying is, I'm just hearing that they're not allowed to issue the report. So if they're not allowed to issue the report, that's the way it should be. Because he was thrown off the case in disgrace. Why should he be allowed to write a fake report? It'll only be a fake report. That's great news. Good.
Trump made these remarks when asked by a reporter at Mar-a-Lago about the judge's decision. He praised Judge Cannon, whom he appointed during his first term, as a brilliant judge with great courage.
Judge in Florida, Judge Cannon, was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her. And never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her. But she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant, and her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped their appeal. They couldn't beat the appeal.
Trump renewed threats to impose high tariffs on Mexico and Canada if they fail to curb undocumented immigration into the United States.
We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers, record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
Trump continued to criticize the Biden administration's handling of the transition ahead of his return to office on January 20th. Trump criticized the administration, stating,
"You know, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth." It's not smooth because they're doing that. They're playing with the courts, as you know. They've been playing with the courts for 4 years, probably got me more votes because I got the highest number of votes ever gotten by a Republican, by far, actually, by a lot. And, you know, we had a great election, so I guess it didn't work. But even to this day, they're playing with the courts. They have their friendly judges that like to try and make everybody happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. So many. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. And we won those cases. Those were the biggest ones.